It's not just humans who have to create the next big thing. It's humans and AI working together. Reinvention is critical, and my general approach is day one thinking. AI experimentation, where a lot of things can get budget just because they're AI and can drive significant impact for the business. So the market dynamic is weird, but I anticipate that in a couple years it will be more and more of the consolidation. Number one competitive mode that every company has is the speed of learning and how agile, truly agile you are. AI is non-deterministic, and you really can't throw AI on users, on customers. You have to go and solve.
Hey, this is Carlos's AI voice, CEO at Product School and your host on the Product Podcast. This episode was recorded live at ProductCon San Francisco, the AI conference for product leaders. Today's guest is Andrey Khusid, co-founder and CEO of Miro, the leading online visual collaboration platform that's revolutionizing how teams around the world brainstorm, plan, and execute together. With over 100 million users and an estimated valuation of $17 billion, Miro is a cornerstone in product teams' toolkits, empowering organizations of all sizes to accelerate time to market. In today's episode, Andrey shares insights on Miro's evolution from a simple online whiteboard to a full-fledged visual collaboration platform and how AI is shaping its future, the strategy behind Miro's success, and the role of AI in streamlining workflows, driving productivity, and enhancing collaboration. The importance of building products that don't just meet the market's current needs, but anticipate where it's going, especially with the rise of AI-powered tools. Let's dive in.
Andrey, you are back. We had our first fireside chat at ProductCon London back in 2018.
7 years ago. Wow.
We joked that you are the only one we could find on the stage, but definitely there are so many more candidates right now, and you earned the right to be here the same way you did 7-8 years ago. But you've been grinding for 15 years.
Yeah, almost 15. We started the company in 2011.
Some people don't even know that there was a previous name before Miro.
Correct, RealtimeBoard. Yeah.
So as you think about those 15 years, what do you think are like those pivotal moments that helped you kind of refound your own company?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me again after 7 years. So seems like we're on something big still, and appreciate all the opportunity to meet all of you. Yeah, it's been a great journey so far, and we had to evolve and reinvent the company several times on that journey. So we started with this simple idea of bringing whiteboard into a browser. In 2011, it was not a thing. There were a couple small startups who were trying to do that, but it was quite a new idea because all this visual communication was happening kind of mostly offline. That was the first step. And then 2016, 2017, before we actually met at ProductCon, I realized that there is a big opportunity to bring visual collaboration to the tool stack of bigger companies, because at that time there was this rise of Slack, which was a messaging app, and Zoom was already popular with the video and audio communication. But there was this missing piece of visual collaboration. And at that point of time, the market was focused on best of breed solutions. Now it's quite a different market. It's best of suite solutions, but at that time it was best of breed. So everyone was trying to do their job best in class, and the enterprise would buy all that. And also another thing that was quite big at that time was product-led growth. Obviously, enterprises were not blocking apps that were kind of organically used by users inside those enterprises. And we had that momentum that Zoom, Slack built, so we built our viral loops. So that was our second kind of big chapter, big shift. Last year, we introduced Innovation Workspace, where we went beyond visual collaboration and we brought in structured workflows, like we built in data tables, roadmaps, diagrams, Kanban, all other capabilities, so people can stay in the product. But obviously, this year we are relaunching our product next week with the AI Innovation Workspace, because now it's not just humans who have to create the next big thing. It's humans and AI working together. So it's like been, I would say, 4 product chapters so far, and the one that we're launching next week, for me, is the most exciting one, to be honest.
It's always the most exciting one. At least that's what I always tell my team. This is the one, But it's funny because as a founder, I resonate with that. You go through those pivotal moments to refound your company, and I think the concept of product market fit being a moving target and not just a
Yes.
one-time event is important. So, how do you articulate that? Like, kind of, what's your framework to make sure that you are not staying compliant and still like making sure that you can still be competitive in that next phase?
Yeah, I always start thinking from the market actually, not from the product perspective, because the market is shifting, especially now, is shifting quite fast, and you need to understand on what market you are playing. Are you playing on best of breed or best of suite market, for example? And now, as I said, we are playing on best of suite market if we're talking about this broad platforms that enterprises and smaller teams bring in. But at the same time, this market is quite weird because on one hand there is a massive consolidation going on, and CIOs are pushing to consolidate on a less number of platforms. At the same time, there is this AI experimentation where a lot of things can get budget just because they're AI and can drive significant impact for the business, and not just incremental improvements but major improvements for the business outcomes. So it's like the market dynamic is weird, but I anticipate that in a couple years it will be more and more of the consolidation. So you need to understand what's the market you are playing, what's your best guess how long this market will last in terms of the dynamics, and then where you have permission not just to play but actually permission to win, because the permission to win is critical. You can't just build stuff without understanding what's the strengths you're betting on and what's the kind of expectations from the rest of the chessboard on the marketplace. So that's where, like, how I think about that market part. And then there is the message part. So message part is about not just like what you build, but how you can sell it. Because the same platform can be sold so many different ways, depends on what's the problems that customers try to address and what's the urgency they have around it.
Obviously, there are many other iterations that happen in between those pivotal moments. So, how do you differentiate when it's time to re-push the team to reinvent themselves, kind of press the code red alert, if you will,
Yeah.
versus making sure that we're still playing within the same kind of framework, but still making progress?
Yeah. It's like reinvention is critical, and my general approach is day one thinking. So, and day one thinking is, if I would start this company today, how the product will look like and how we position this product and what market we want to play. That's kind of the question that I'm asking myself every day, and depends on the answer, like, is it a small evolution or quite a critical kind of rebuild. We are aligning and making decisions because, again, like, you have to be relevant to the market and the market needs. And the challenge today, and we all kind of understand that, is that you can't predict for a long time, but you can operate on first principles with all the market shift we're seeing with the AI and agentic workflows, how things would generally evolve. And that's where, like, you need to understand, okay, are you up for the next wave of this market, or you are completely irrelevant?
One of the things that I notice, this is hard in my experience, is making big change when you're winning. Meaning, if you are playing in a market where you have the right to win, where you are objectively seeing reasonable growth, that is very hard because the team, some members of the team might not be feeling the same type of
Yeah.
pain and opportunity that you are. So, especially in those moments when you are not like, okay, you are losing, it's obvious that you have to change. But like in a moment where you are actually winning, how are you able to raise the troops to not make them too comfortable and like make sure that they push in the same direction?
Yeah, I mean, in general, in any transformation, you will have people who believe in it. And on average, like, speaking with the people who did a lot of transformations in their life, you would expect 25% who will stay behind this, around 50% who will support, but like watch how it all develops, and 25% who will push back and will not kind of align to that. That's kind of a reality. Now, obviously in any transformation you go, you need to see people who believe in that vision as much as you believe. And if we kind of think about this, when startups building the companies, the majority of people would not join their companies because they don't believe in that vision. 99 out of 100 investors would not put money in those companies because they don't believe in their vision. And then those who survive, they make the big companies out of that. A lot die, obviously, not reaching product market fit. But in reality, it's all about conviction. It's all about like the whys that you communicate to the organization. And it's about people who you see are as excited about this opportunity as you are, creating that team and going together, and then the rest start to follow over time.
I want to touch on the kind of dark side of those type of transformations or new ways to find that product market fit. Because of course it's exciting for a founder or an executive. You have access to information, you see it probably before anybody else, and ultimately you're calling the shots, right? But what is the hard decisions, some of the hard decisions that you had to make to orchestrate execution and change, assuming that there's 25% of people who are pushing back, assuming that some people are never going to get along with the message, assuming that you might be saying no to some customers that are actually paying you good money. So like, what are some of those like tough choices you had to make?
I mean, number one choice is to accept that next few years would be messy, to accept that some revenue growth can slow down, to accept that some customers may churn. And this is hard to accept because all of that is kind of a big trade-off. But and also you don't know. Like obviously you are making your best guess, you are making your best bet, but you don't know how the market will evolve. And again, like when I'm thinking about all this, it's all about kind of going back in my mind to early days of the company. And what I was doing in early days when the team was like 10 people sitting in the same room, I was like ruthlessly prioritizing customer and user empathy. And what I mean is you spend a ton of time on the calls, demoing the prototypes, looking at the data, qualitative, quantitative signals, zooming out, trying to separate that signal from the noise. That will give you the best kind of that will give you the best conviction or the best insight into what to do and what not to do. And that's what you can share with the broader org. So, for example, now in the last 6-8 months, I literally kind of spend most of my time on the customer meetings, customer calls, demoing the product, validating the direction, like talking about the go-to-market, how we can serve the customers better with this product. Because you need to get that first-hand insight when you bet the whole company on the next horizon.
I think that is a good point. I mean, when you started, you probably had no choice but to grind and do it all yourself. How big is the company?
1,600 people now.
And in terms of customer size?
Customer size, we have 250,000 customers and like several thousand of big enterprises and a long tail of smaller companies. But we're not like completely redesigning the product. Obviously, we're building the next level of the product depth.
Totally. And that I think multi-product approach is really powerful. Just to check here with the audience, it's a bunch of product leaders. How many of you have used Miro before? So here you have some market validation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lot of BS and politics. Even if you don't want it, like just because by nature of the size of your business, there's going to be more things that you are pulled into. So what is your role now when you are in this situation where you're really trying to launch new product, go back to the kitchen and really be there building, talking to customers? Like, how do you protect that time?
Yeah, I mean, in general, it's not just I'm doing it alone. Obviously, there is a great team who are doing it together with me, and a lot of people are in front of customers every day. So then we kind of combine all those notes. So it's not like I'm kind of back to like when I was 10 people org. now, I think that's the most important piece, because even if you kind of not get the right signal from the customer, you still can make that customer more successful. You build a relationship for the future and whatnot. I think as a CEO, it's like the most important things is like to build the right team and to kind of have a deep empathy to the customer and their problems and how you can solve them. So I think there is nothing else more important than like your best team who can execute together with you and the customer kind of success. Um, but I try to kind of spend a bunch of time also on exploring what are those new trends, new products, read a lot of reports, playing with the other products myself to kind of educate myself on the kind of user experience, on all the agentic experiments that other companies are doing. So that's a big part of what I'm doing in general as well, because that builds your kind of taste and also kind of some understanding of what's working, what's not. I'm looking into data a lot as well.
And that's one of the reasons why I love having you on stage, because ultimately you're a product person at heart. I guess in addition to being CEO, you also wear the CPO hat in a way.
Oh, I'm very lucky. I have an amazing CPTO, so he is running the show actually with the team. But I have to wear a product hat, because in today's world, you have to, like, the whole value that we are creating is our product. There's no other value that our company is creating. And as a CEO, I need to kind of be behind the value that we are creating as a business. And we are like on a daily alignment sessions with my CPTO, but like I will say it's a lot that he is driving and he is pushing through. It's more about like, are we aligning the vision? Are we seeing the same signals that we kind of get from the customers? That's super important.
I want to double click on that because your current CPTO was actually the CEO at Envision, company
Yeah.
that you acquired. He was actually on stage at ProductCon New York a few years ago.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's a way of growing
Yeah.
inorganically, right? Through acquisitions. I know you've gone through some. So what is the learning there?
Yeah. We've been through 6 acquisitions so far that we did over the last 4 years. Um, Majority are acqui-hires, so we bring amazing teams who are rebuilding their products on Miro platform. So as you mentioned, yeah, we're going now into multi-product. We have a big launch happening next week, and this is like first time when we are breaking out from one product, from one offering into multi-product. And our CPTO came through the acquisition. I was in search for chief product officer and chief technology officer separately. And there came this opportunity to merge with Envision team, where Jeff was a CEO at that time. And I looked at like what he achieved with the team there at Envision, and we were like, maybe you should just take both roles and run it as a CPTO. And that was one of the best decisions and one of the best hires I made, because that was such a big leverage. And again, like I'm saying, I'm spending a lot of time with customers, but I'm not running product engineering teams. Like we're operating like, I would say, co-founders in a way, where you have someone who you fully trust, and but you kind of challenge each other every day.
That is a huge statement. And I'm glad that's going that way. You mentioned 6 acquisitions. So what's kind of the success rate in terms of founder company fit? Because we talk about product market fit, but if you are acquiring a company with a different culture, with a CEO that you want to partner with, like how do you make sure that they're also going to be thriving in a new environment?
Yeah, majority of our acquisitions are successful, and the reason why I see it is because for me, super important is to align on the mission and on the energy with the founders that we're bringing in. We've brought in like more than 10 founders now who are working on core product engineering roles, like who are reporting to CPTO and who are reporting to those who report to CPTO. It's not just that kind of only next level. And this mission alignment, so people are passionate about the problem space and opportunity to go together. And the second is like energy alignment. Do we love to work together? That's so important. Like if we message each other on Saturday or Sunday, like over Messenger, is it a tax or is it a energy builder moment? So And that's super important, because if you are building the company, you want to build it with people who have that passion, who have that energy, who are kind of aligned on the bigger mission, and that creates magic. But sometimes it doesn't work that way, and there are different reasons for that. But in general, I think this is the most critical part, is like to have that joint passion about what you're doing.
I followed your journey for a long time, and kind of when you started, there was no category for product. There were no tools designed specifically for product people.
Yeah.
We were piggybacking on designer tools, marketing tools, and you name it. Now there's a defined category, and you started as a kind of category player, expanded into a platform player. And as I hear you talk about multi products, kind of how are you thinking in terms of funding that growth for that next phase?
Yeah, no, that's been an interesting story, because when we just started, we started with this idea of bringing whiteboard into a browser. So we didn't start with a specific personas. It was more like a horizontal solution. And then what we figured out quite fast is that a lot of people in product, user experience, engineering getting the most value, because they use it for their specific jobs to be done and specific workflows like agile workflows. And then we start to build the product, the templates around those capabilities. And that was our first chapter, first wave of product development. And then when pandemic started, our product got kind of deployed across the whole organization, because again, leaders in the companies saw a massive opportunity to enable everyone to communicate visually and whatnot. And then at the end of the pandemic and 2022, this space started to get commoditized. So a lot of companies shipped their like free whiteboarding capabilities, and there was no kind of much growth for us left in that. And I had to kind of pivot together with the team back to focus on the innovation workflows. And we have this mission for more than 10 years, empower teams to create the next big thing. But we were quite a horizontal solution where product management, UX, and others would use us, but we were not workflow-oriented solution. And we had to pivot our product in 2023 towards one big outcome that we're driving, is accelerating time to market. So, and now, like, whatever we are building, whatever we are shipping is focused on that metric, how we can help our customers to accelerate time to market. And number one area of accelerating time to market is still product innovation teams, correct? But there are other teams in the company who are using us extensively, marketing, for example. When you prepare this conference, you need to think through a lot of details and you want to do it super fast. So they would deploy us in the same approach. So that's kind of our mental model. We're not like just caught into product development workflows. We help any team who are going through like discover, define, and delivery phase to go faster and with a higher quality.
And I think I want to kind of push you on that, because you've seen what is the commoditization phase in the visual collaboration space. And I've seen it in many other tools, you name it, like calendar scheduling. At some point, what was considered a product becomes a commodity feature.
Yeah.
And then you're forced to continue innovating and building that moat, right? So especially now with AI, where technically it's faster to build, and now we're seeing like, I don't know, AI prototyping tools popping like mushrooms, or like even whiteboarding tools. Like, what's your moat and
Yeah.
your right to win there?
I think one of the, like, obviously now, kind of as Sam Altman said, like, we are entering this fast fashion of software. Yeah, it's just, I can't agree more. Like, it's incredible how much startups appear every day, how much software being built. Elena from Lovable was here on the stage before, talking about how many makers getting there every day. So I think the moat, and I agree with what Elena shared, is the brand. And we started to build that way before actually it became popular in software, because I believe in building love marks, not just a name or a brand, but really love marks. And that's why I rebranded the company back in 2019 from RealtimeBoard to Miro, because Miro, from my perspective, can become a love mark. And that's what we see people, why people come to the product. That's number one. Number two is to go extra mile and deepen the product into the workflow of the customer. And now it's more critical than ever because of AI. AI is non-deterministic, and you really can't throw AI on users, on customers. You have to go and solve end customer workflows and use cases together with the customers. So that's a critical part. So you can't just do it as before, one size fits all. What else, like as a mode? I don't know about data actually. There are a lot of talks about is data a mode or not. I think there is this preference from all the customers to be not vendor lock. And whenever they see vendor lock solution, they try to avoid it as much as possible because the customer data is the customer data. And this is like what I believe. In personal, I had to change my mind several years ago when I had a conversation with a couple of customers who were frustrated that they can't easily export this or that. I'm like, yeah, we should treat it differently because we need to win customers on the way how we solve their problems rather than on vendor lock approaches. Now, would it help for a short middle term? Yes, but I don't think any customer wants to be vendor locked, especially in this era of fast moving software. That's kind of a few thoughts. But in general, I think the number one competitive mode that every company has is the speed of learning. At the end of the day, it's all about how fast you are learning as an organization and how agile, truly agile you are. Not like what the agile practices you follow, but how fast you recognize signal, separate that from noise, and act on that signal. And the faster you can do it, and the faster you can learn from failures and successes, the more probability to be successful long term you have. That's kind of what I believe in.
On that note, I want to wrap it up with a personal question. It's been 15 years, man, grinding. You still hold your hair. You've had kids along the way. You're still founder and CEO. Um, what is it that you do to also take care of yourself and make sure that you can also be energized for whatever comes next?
Yeah, I mean, in general, you need to love what you do. That's number one thing. And it's like if you are enjoying this, then you have so much energy. So you are not kind of burning yourself through, but you actually getting energy of what you do. And for me, building products, solving customer problems, building something that people use daily and love is the biggest energy boost, correct? And then obviously when you have a great support system with your family, when you have a lot of great friends, and like when you just have good time with other like millionaires, internal team and other founders, that's what you optimize in life. You optimize in life those amazing moments, and like I have every day so many of those moments that I'm like so lucky to be on this journey. So yeah, I'm a builder at heart, and like not just builder of the product, but builder and like love to solve problems. And if you are on this journey with the people who you trust and with the people who you have fun with, that's the most energy boosting thing in your life.
Well, hopefully we can do this in the future as we
Yeah,
continue growing together.
yeah, let's not wait 7 years, let's do it in a couple years. So thank you for
Done.
having me here. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you.